Welcome to Hip Hop Now Podcast. If you're from the future, you know what to do. Get your ass out of here. Don't disrespect the legend. Hip hop is here to stay. Let's get right into the business.
What up, y'all? I am your host, Vegas, and this is Hip Hop Now Podcast, a podcast specifically designed to keep you caught up on all things hip hop, music, and culture that happened throughout the week. Big shout out to the subscribers, the listeners over at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast listening. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for subscribing. I know you reviewed on Apple Podcasts, right? Let me point right in the camera if you're watching. If you watch, I know you reviewed on Apple Podcasts, but I hope you do. Also, big shout out to those watching right here on YouTube, Hip Hop Now Pod. I appreciate the subscriptions to the podcast. I got a lot of content on the way, some bonus content, some fun stuff, and maybe an interview or two. Who knows? You never know. But if you would like to know, stay locked in by not only hitting subscribe, not only liking the videos, not only commenting and joining the conversation, but also sharing it with people, right? The heads, the hip hop heads, would enjoy this kind of content. But let's just say, hey man, I do all of that, but sometimes I forget, fam. I forget you even on. Well, first of all, I ain't mad at you. But second of all, one way to just stay connected to when new videos pop up is to hit that bell notification icon right here on YouTube. So every time you go into YouTube or on your phone, you'll get a notification to say, yo, Vegas just dropped a new video. You can check it out right then and there. You can check it out when you have time. I'm going to tell you right now, I watch YouTube like television, and the watch later, the save thing, I do it for like all the channels I subscribe. I just go through content each day that I like and hit watch later. And then when I'm in the gym or something else or at home, I'm just watching YouTube, like television. So do me that salad. Real quick, just want to shout out something I did this week. I was a contributor in an article in the New York Times about Roy Hargrove. If you don't know who that is, he's a jazz musician, legendary musician, if you ask me, who unfortunately passed away a couple of years back. But his imprint on the game of jazz, and not just jazz, but music in general, has been felt across hip hop, soul, R&B, jazz, all of it all together. But I contributed to the article. It's called 5 Minutes to Make You Love Roy Hargrove. So definitely check that out. It's a lot of other people there who have some dope songs. And I, told them one song that I like from him. But there are a ton there to, once you read the article, you kind of get to know who Roy Hargrove is, and then go down the rabbit hole of his performances, his albums, his documentary, which I was able to see a couple of years back in Manhattan. So it's pretty dope. So if you want to check that out, if you want to read what I wrote, also the link will be in the description of this episode, whether you're listening in audio form or watching it as a video. And big shout out to Marcus J. Moore, who I interviewed on this channel when he dropped his book about De La Soul. I know there was a little controversy, but they had to be quiet after a while because it wasn't what they were saying. I'm just saying, it's real. But I did an interview with him. This was his article. He asked me to contribute. I was honored to do so. I've written before, but now I can say I've have 200 words in the New York Times. So, boom. But with that being said, big shout out to hiphopdx.com, allhiphop.com, Double XL Mag, and a couple of places where I'm getting some of these stories from. Let's get right into the business. So, Kendrick and Drake fans have been doing battle still. Mostly Drake fans because they want to say, see, he's not, see, he is. And it's like, he lost. He lost. Okay, stop. He lost. Even him, what did I miss? You missed the whole battle where Kendrick drug you up and down the goddamn street for all of us to see, and it lasted like 2 years, which is crazy. Maybe it hasn't been 2 years, but damn sure it lasted a year. I'm hoping Drake will stop bringing it up, but unfortunately, we're not done yet. Right? We're not. The MTV Video Music Awards is coming up. Yeah, I know I don't really watch award shows, but I do like to follow the nominations for hip hop, well, in general. And, who wins? When it comes to videos, I don't watch as much as I used to back in the days. Like back in the days, shout out to Ralph McDaniels and the Vid Kid. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, the other dude too. I can't remember his name. Ray. He passed away recently. I think his name was Ray. My bad, y'all. But that's how I initially used to get my videos, like homegrown New York Video Music Box, but obviously BET and MTV. And then after a while, I just stopped because videos stopped being creative. Hip hop videos stopped being creative to me. And it just was all the same thing after a while. Cars, chicks, flashing lights, jewelry, somebody grill being shown close up in a pan and shot. Like, come on, man, I'm tired. Now I will say that's not really the case now because there are a few artists, there are a couple of artists who make some really dope, fantastic videos, all the time. Drake makes some dope videos sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like that Hotline Bling video, it was simple, but it was kind of dope the way it was done. It was different. The Baby has a lot of dope videos. I don't know about now, but I know when he was hot, he had that album, Baby on Baby, which is probably the only one I really like. All his videos were entertaining. It just took me back, But now I don't watch, man. I don't watch because half the time I don't care unless I'm interested in seeing, like maybe I like the song, like Not Like Us, and I want to see the video, or like I like the Nokia joint. I'm sorry. I know we're supposed to hate Drake, but I like it. Okay. And I know he didn't really write. I don't care, man. Like it's about a groove. Trust me, when it comes to hip hop, him suing takes him out of it. I don't care what he does. I don't care what he raps. Suing over a battle is the weakest thing that's ever happened in hip hop. Your hip hop Carters have been revoked. Okay. But the VMAs is coming up, and I'm trying to see if I could find, I guess not, the nominations. So I'm just going to read a little bit. This is over at hiphopdx.com. Kendrick Lamar and Drake set to go head to head at MTV VMAs. Kendrick Lamar and Drake. I just read that. Well, they say Kendrick Lamar and Drake are set to go head to head in a key category at the MTV VMA Awards. Okay, what's that? The nominations for the awards were announced with Kendrick up for 10 different. Wow. While Drake has just one nomination. Damn. Has to be Nokia. With Some Sexy Songs for You almost entirely shut out at the awards. Well, we know who's going to win now. Drake and Kendrick will only do battle in the category of Best Hip Hop. Kendrick is nominated for Not Like Us, while Drake is up for Nokia. Let's see. Is there anything else here worth reading that's not just stuff? Yeah. So, hold on. There's something else. So, I believe also LL Cool J and Eminem are up for that same category for the song. I think it was Murdergram 2 or something like that. That video was dope. I didn't like that song when I first heard it. And when I saw the video, I was like, okay, the video just made me like the song. So I think Not Like Us is going to win because it was like when the song dropped. Perfect timing, perfect video, just perfect. Nokia is cool, but it's worth the nomination. Put it that way. It's worth the nomination. But if Not Like Us doesn't win, Murdergram is the only other video to me that was really good. Very creative, you know. Those three to me, unless there's another video I'm forgetting about. And trust me, it's not any of you boom bap chains and finger gun at the camera dudes. Like, we seen y'all do that a million times. Step your budget up, okay? We on the block. Okay, congratulations. Congratulations. You grew up there. I'm saying. These three videos I'm talking about, there's a little bit more creativity to them. So I could see any one of them win it. Well, any one of the two winning, but I think it's going to be Not Like Us. I thought I had a list of complete nominations here, but I guess that's the main one that matters for hip hop. So next, so Salt and Pepper have been going through it with UMG. UMG got a lot of smoke in the streets. First, you got Drake suing UMG or trying to sue them over Not Like Us, which is nonsense. But Salt and Pepper suing over their master recordings is another thing. To me, that's a bigger thing. That's more important. This is also from Hip Hop DX. I thought I turned that off. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. You know, you gotta. My sister calls it D&D. I just say do not disturb. Just put your do not disturb on, okay? Am I old because I don't say D&D? I don't know. You tell me. Bars. Salt and Pepper slam UMG as the pioneering rap duo sue the record label for control over their master recordings. The female MCs filed a lawsuit against the music giant back in May, in which they allege UMG is violating federal copyright law by denying them the copyright to their music after a certain amount of time has elapsed. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see. This is what Salt said, and I quote. This is from Good Morning America, by the way. When you're an artist, in the beginning, you sign a contract saying that the copyrights will revert back to you after 35 years. And we've done all the things legally to get our copyrights back. But they're just refusing. So we had to sue them. We didn't have that leverage. We didn't have the knowledge. We didn't have that control in the 80s. And so to be held to a contract from 1985 and 40 years later, it's like ridiculous. And this is what Pepper said. They want to keep it. They want to hold on to it. And they're trying to fight us. So obviously they understand that's the worth of that. Okay. You can read the rest on hiphopdx.com, but we say it all the time. We've been saying it since Q-Tip of A Tribe Called Quest said it back in the days. Record company people are shady. They just are. They're sharks. Not everybody. Not everybody. But generally speaking, especially when it comes to ownership and publishing and points and things like that, it's almost designed to take advantage of the artists. These two women are lucky to still be walking the face of the earth. 5 years ago, they should have received, I'm not saying I'm a lawyer, but I'm gonna trust Salt and Pepper. You trust them. They should have received their masters, their copyright back. And we know it's valuable because if you were around in the 90s, even in the 80s, right? In the 80s, Salt and Pepper was a popular hip hop group. But in the 90s, they became, and this is not even a shot at them as female MCs. We already know Salt and Pepper top 10 when it comes to the ladies. But in the 90s, they blew up and became more of a pop group. You know, they still made hip hop, but they were extremely popular beyond just being popular with hip hop. So there are songs of theirs that, you know, I mean, you still see them in commercials like Shoop and What a Man. Like those songs just don't get old. And unfortunately, like they said, a lot of artists do this. They want to be on, they see the pathway, they get the budget to do some of the things they want to do, but they don't have the ownership and of their music that they create. And when you have a situation when you have hits on a hip hop level with the heads, and then you go on to have pop hits, you know what I'm saying, that never get old, that have impacted generations of people in different communities. So when they hear it, it's their jam, no matter how old they get. There's money to be made. And they created this. So what do you think? Do you think that artists today should just straight go for independence by any means necessary? You know, last week we talked about Joey Badass and his issue. He wanted to drop an album last week, and the record label saying, I think it was Def Jam, was like, no, no, no. Def Jam, UMG, saying, was like, no, 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 you don't. You know, you want to control your stuff. You know, you signed a deal. In Salt and Pepper's case, they were very patient. They waited. Now it's time for these ladies to have their copyright, man. It just sucks. So leave your comments in the comment section below about that and the video music awards, whether you think Kendrick is going to win, Drake, or maybe LL and Eminem. And last, so man, like, I'm going to just say this. If you a hip hop fan, we've been eating good. We have been eating good. Okay? If you don't know, maybe you're a little bit more casual. If you don't know what I'm referencing, maybe you're just a little bit more casual. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is the point of this show, to introduce you, if you don't know, introduce you to artists and music and concepts and stuff, but hip hop and hip hop culture. And lately, it feels like, even though I had a couple of dope albums in my best of the year so far, lately we've been getting a streak of dope albums. Couple of duds, couple bumps in the road. We like, oh, whoa, what was that? You know, oh, Slick Rick album. I'm just joking, y'all. Come on, man. I love Slick Rick. But you know what I mean? Like, ever since the clips dropped, and again, we did a whole show on this. Just check out the video. Me and the homie Ock, shout out to Ock, about that album. But it just represented the death of ageism, even though Nas kind of did that. And he said it on the Clips album. But the Clips, LL, like a couple of people released some dope stuff. Common and Pete Rock, right? Like, this just feels like this extension of don't sleep on the old heads. So when the Clips dropped and the bars were pristine, the features were pristine, Pharrell was in his pocket, in his bag with that album, it was almost like, man, it can't get no better than this. And then Raekwon dropped. And at first I was kind of like, because I did a review, I gave it my listens. And I was like, yeah, it's cool, you know, it's cool. I went beyond those 3 listens I like to do and found myself like back to back Clips, Raekwon, Clips, Raekwon, like just like that. And you know, it just feels like there's something going on. With that being said, I listened to the brand new album from JID. I believe his grandmother used to call him Jitterbug. That's how you pronounce it, JID. But sometimes I saw it as JID, early on at least. But JID, right? That's what I'm going with. Okay. Released a brand new album called God Does Like Ugly. It's about an hour in length, 15 songs. Features include the Clips on a song called Community, Vince Staples on a song called VCR, Skate featuring Sierra and Earth Gang, Don Tolliver. What's this guy's name? I always mess his name up. It says Six Slack or Slack. Is that what it is? I guess so. Ty Dolla Sign. And a couple of other people on here. Pastor Troy's on here. I didn't even realize that was Pastor Troy. Right? So, y'all know how I do when it comes to these reviews. 3 listens. First listen is just to take in whatever this album is presenting. Just listening. Second listen is more so to like, all right, let's listen to these bars and these features and these beats and concept and look at the cover and see if I can see what's being presented within the music. And the third listen is just to confirm my thoughts. And my thoughts for those who like, I don't want you explaining stuff. What you think? This one of the best of the year. It is. It's one of the best of the year, and it is probably going to be in my top 5, at least for now. So far. Best of the year so far. Top 5 so far. A couple of things can drop and just bounce it right out of there for me. But right now, it's right in there. And what I like about it, it's not that, first of all, this dude could rap. He always could rap, okay? Since the beginning, but this feels like he found his pocket. Like this, if this is what my albums or this is what his albums should sound like going forward. Not the same exact concept, but I think he does a great balance of having bars, spitter type beats and records and features, stuff that you could dance to, music that represents where he comes from, right? Because I know for some people, also West Side Gun is on his album, but he's talking for the most part. But I know for some people, with this album in particular, somewhere in the midway point, the music and the vibe switches up, right? Not on every song, but it becomes very different than what you heard within the last, 4 or 5 records, right? And I know a lot of people pointed that out, and I'm not even saying in a negative way, but for some people, that's kind of like going off track. Like, oh man, when it started, it was crazy, but then he started doing this and that and third. I'll say this. I don't care. You know why? Because I done had years of listening to Outkast have banjos and harmonicas and people beating on buckets and all kinds of other sounds for hip hop. And I dug it because it was coming from their culture in Atlanta, right? It may not be the signature sound or whatever the signature sound is today, but it had the influences, right? Just like when you think of New York City and you think of boom bap, it's almost like the boom bap is representative of it being so much concrete everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So it made sense. For those who don't know, he's on J. Cole's label, Dreamville. I will say this, production-wise, this is great. I think that's what I like about it. It's carrying the torch from Clips, right? With that quality of the music, right? Not the same exact production, but just attention to detail when it came to the music alone. And then JID just showed up when it came to the bars. Now, I know I said Clips, and that's all people care about nowadays, right? It's kind of like when Black Thought did the freestyle and y'all realized that he existed. Because some of y'all wasn't even talking about Black Thought, and he been spitting like that. Same thing with Clips. People love the Clips so much now. It's like if it's a Clips feature, it's like where? Well, I'll say this: the song is crazy. It's called Community. JID got busy. Obviously, Pusha T got busy, but Malice, if he dropped more, if they're on a Nas album and he got another verse that's crazy, he is not only the sixth man of the year, the comeback man of the year, not the sixth man, but you know what I mean, the comeback player of the year, the MVP, and he done won a championship with his brother, because that album is definitely in my top 5 for the year, and it's not moving. I don't care what come out. I don't care if they be like, oh, Big Pocket, they had a secret album that's crazy. I'm not moving the Clips because it was that good. But Malice verse on here is nuts. He hasn't missed. He has not missed. You know what it's like? Dudes are fighting outside. Let's just say Pusha T outside fighting and he outnumbered. And Malice been in the house all day watching cartoons and eating cereal. And he just, oh, who fight my brother? And he just get up off the couch, go outside, knock out the dudes, and go right back to watching cartoons and eating cereal. That's how he acting. He just coming outside saying, here y'all go. But nevertheless, man, like, again, the only thing that was weird for me was it's weird because I like it, but it's also weird because, like, what we doing? The opening track, You Ugly, right? Featuring Westside Gunn. Westside Gunn is talking and he like, yo, my lady ugly. And it's just like, why are you here? Because there was a better use for his voice on, like, I kind of wanted I'm looking at canaries. I don't know why I said that, but that's how he rhymed. I just wanted to hear that. So the talking was kind of like, oh, okay. But again, it doesn't take away from this album. This album is an hour, right? Some people look at the track listing. You might be like me and be like, damn, it's 10, 11. But it's only an hour and it sounds good. So now again, I'm about to be in the space. I know Alfredo 2 dropped also, but there's a certain energy level that Alfredo 2, Rock Marcy, and Premier don't have. Like, you can listen to those 2 albums together and kind of vibe with that because it's more chill, mellow. Even though I like the Rock Marcy and Primo joint. But this feels like a companion piece to the Clips album, right? It feels like an extension of that quality, when it comes to the bars and the beats. And again, same thing with Raekwon, man. I like that album. So definitely JID's God Does Like Ugly is one of the best of the year, man. Have you heard it? What do you think? Do you like it? Do you like the switch up, like, towards the second half of the album? Do you like the final record that really kind of brings everything together? Leave your comments in the comment section below. You can follow me on social media at Vegas World INC. Listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts listening. Also, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is in the link, which is in the description of the audio podcast episode. Until next time, y'all, like, share, comment, but most importantly, remember, I'm not a critic, I'm a fan. Peace.